Okay.
All right, we're on.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to tonight's IncrediChat with me and our buddy Michael Grassia.
Hey, guys.
Bringing some cool pop culture and convention stuff right to your home. Tonight, our very special guest is Lou Avilleira, who, if you are here, definitely on the East Coast, but he travels nationwide. You will know him as Father Evil. And he doesn't. I mean, we do a bunch of conventions, and we've seen Lou at all these shows, and he always has a great crowd at his table. He's just started streaming his own Father Evil. I guess, what do you call these things that we're doing? Facebook Lives, podcast.
Father Evil Live is what I call it.
It's a live stream or a video cast, if you want to call it that.
Live stream.
Yeah.
So tonight we're just gonna talk. We're gonna have all your questions tonight. And as we're doing that, hey, Joe Ryan is already with us, our good buddy. So tonight we're going to take your questions, talk a little bit about cosplay, the creation of characters, and and Kenny Mendoza's here.
I will say, Kenny, please don't encourage him.
Talk about that, and really talk about, as we were just having before the show started, what's going to happen at these conventions as we go forward in the next few years. So, Lou, I guess for people who may not know who Father Evil is, and a little bit about you, share the evolution of this wonderful character that you've created with our audience.
All right. Well, back in about 2006, 2007, my wife and her girlfriend, she used to work at Liberty Science Center in the admin building.
Nice.
Her girlfriend there, they became very good friends, and she had mentioned somehow in conversation that I love horror, and her husband, her girlfriend's husband, happened to love horror too. They're like, "Hey, there's this horror con. Let's go to this weekend. Why don't we all go?" So my wife came up to me, and asked me. I'm like, "Yeah, it's fantastic." It was Chiller Theater. It was around 2006, I believe. It was my first horror con ever, and I went, and I fell in love because I'm a huge horror fanatic. All I watch is horror, pretty much. Maybe an occasional comedy. Literally, all I watch is horror.
So I'm going to ask you. So you say you're a horror fan. I've been to Chiller, and I know some people in our audience definitely have been to Chiller. When you're talking about horror, what is the horror that are you more into, like Universal monsters kind of horror? Are you more into like the I guess from our age group, like the Freddy Krueger, Jason movies?
More our era.
Okay.
More into that. I love a big fan of foreign horror. Foreign horror rewrote a lot of stuff for us. A lot of foreign horrors rely on your imagination to fill in the rest. And 9 times out of 10, your imagination, what you picture in your mind's eye, will destroy anything a CGI generated image can come close to. What your mind will make up at, like where you don't see, but they're implying, your mind's eye is the most powerful CGI machine out there.
That's really true. Joe Ryan said he's been to Chiller. Grassia, have you been to Chiller?
I haven't had the chance to go, but again, I'm not a huge horror fan, so it's not a show I would lean towards.
Yeah, because I know definitely at Chiller, like Lou was saying, we were talking about this foreign horror. I mean, like there's stuff that you don't see like on the regular market at Chiller, and it's like they got it there. So
no, they have a bunch of cons, but Chiller was my first con. So when I went there, I loved it. I fell in love with the concept. I'm like, these are my people. So, and then there was these people there, my age and older, dressed up, and it wasn't even in Halloween. It was like April, and I'm like, wow, this is excellent. So we left. I had a fantastic time, and I said to my wife, we got to go back. And then we went back the following year, and then the year after that, I decided I was going to go dressed up, just for fun. I wasn't planning to do anything. And she had mentioned, because at that time I was working at Best Buy.
Okay.
And she was like, "Don't do the foam latex stuff." I mean, I experimented with the foam latex with the spirit gum and the liquid latex, and apply the adherence so the mask could move with my face, so it wouldn't look like a mask, but it would actually move with me. So I experimented with that. It was really like rudimentary type of effects. It wasn't even anything impressive, but impressive enough to win first place at dive bars. So it was good enough for that. But as compared to what you see out there, I was low on the totem pole. So she said, "Don't bother doing that. Go something more simpler." And I'm like, let me think of something. I'm like, "You're right. I will," because it was $50 a pop, and I could only wear once. That's $50 you'd throw away. So I'm like, let me think. And I illustrated for many years. A lot of people don't know, but I have a talent of art. Not as good as some of the other artists you see out there, but I can hold my own. So I had this nickname in Best Buy. They used to call me Evil Lou. I can make an evil face, you know, like that. So they always call me Evil Lou. So
what department did you work at? Let me ask.
The inventory.
Inventory. All right. So you were
and loss prevention.
Oh, well, that's good then. So when you got the shoplifters, you put the face on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, what do you have in there? Come on, dude. Let's go. we got to talk. Let's go talk. You know what I'm talking about. Let's go talk now. And they would be, oh, okay. So anyway, I drew this character back in the 90s. Mm-hmm. It was a priest, a combination of the Joker and Reverend Henry Kane from Poltergeist 2. So I melded I melded them together, and he was like really doing like the sinister smile like this, and he had his hands in the prayer hands, and I had the rosaries wrapped around, and on the back I wrote in Latin, "De nomine Patri et Filii et Spiritus Sancti." And I had that picture for a long time. I actually put it in a for sale. This is back in New Brunswick, Cafe Jones or something like that. It was a really this is way before Starbucks.
Okay,
but it was like a trendy coffee house with art and stuff, and it was in the heart of New Brunswick. So I was happy just living there. It was a very fun time for me. And I had that piece up there, and so I thought to myself, what can I be, when I go to, this horror con? What can I be that you haven't seen? You've seen zombies, you've seen vampires, you've seen homicidal clowns. What haven't you seen? And then it hit me, a possessed priest. And it also it hits you because if they can get to a priest, what chance do you have?
That's true.
Mm-hmm. So I'm like, that's kind of messed up, and it's thought provoking, and you haven't seen that. So I picked up, I got a pair of whiteout contacts, and a $20 costume from Party City. I sort of had this look, but not as profound as it is now, not as majestic as it is now. But I had it was like tighter. Just say this was tighter. I was already bald, so I put on the contacts in this costume, and it looked pretty cool. I wasn't planning to do anything with this. It was a one-time goof. That's it. I'll bring it out every now and then to go win a Halloween contest at a bar, and that's it. I went to Chilla Theater, not thinking anything, and people just like, whoa, as soon as they saw me. Coming up to me for pictures left and right. And I'm wearing a $20 costume from Party City. And I'm thinking, what the hell? I mean, this guy's, spent easily $500 in his outfit, but they're coming to me? What's going on? So I go into this one room, and there was this director. His name escapes me to this day, and I wish it didn't, but it was a director from Italy.
Okay.
Who did shock horror. And he was autographing a line of, a line of people, about 20, 25 people. He's doing his autographs. And I walk into the room, and he sees me, and he does a double take. He excuses himself from the table. And now, when they're interacting with the fans doing autograph, they never do that. They don't excuse themselves from the table for anything. He ran up to me. This is amazing. This is so original. I love this. Who are you? And I'm like, I didn't even have a name. At that time, I just went as the Unholy One. And I wasn't even in character. I'm the Unholy One. Hi. And he called his assistant producer to take pictures of me. And I'm like, I looked at my wife, who was right there with me. I'm like, did this just happen?
Huh.
She's like, yeah. And I'm like, maybe I got something here. Because if he's able to see something that he's a horror director. He sees something.
Yeah.
Maybe I got something here that is bigger. So I decided, to run with it. Around 2012, I decided, I had an epiphany. Like, that's it. I gotta upgrade my game.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta make this legit. I gotta attack this because I decided I'm gonna do something with this. And that's when I got my first real outfit, and it changed everything. As soon as I got that, it changed my mood. It changed my, it's more pride into it, and it just changed my demeanor on it, and slowly developed more and more into the character, and slowly started condensing in my thoughts what I wanted to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
That was in 2012. Fast forward 8 years.
Let me ask, with so you had your $20 Party City costume.
Yep.
So obviously that was retired, as you said. You're legitimatizing yourself then. Where was this another Party City costume? Did you go to, I guess, where the people in the religious life, like, did you go to like their vendors or whatever? Like, how do you even find that? I wouldn't even know where to look for something like that.
Clergyrobes.com.
Oh, wow. And no questions. They just say, okay. Credit card.
That's it.
There you go.
There you go. They didn't say, oh, what church are you with? I don't know. I said, yeah, sure. Same thing as I got my marriage license.
Mm-hmm.
$60.
Wow. Wow. Hey,
to marry somebody, $60.
wow.
I think I'm certified all over the country.
And have you
Money's
done that?
God. Money. This.
There you go. There you go.
It's the truth. I've been in churches, live churches, not during mass or whatever. But this past year, there was this independent horror fest called the Philadelphia Unnamed Film Fest, PUFF for short.
Mm-hmm.
They had me as the host there. They talked to the the church owners. Hey, they knew they were going to have a horror con there. Nothing crazy, but they weren't going to do anything disrespectful. And they said, hey, they showed a picture of me. This is the guy hosting it. Is it okay? They're like, listen, as long as he doesn't burn any Bibles or whatever, we don't care. Because they paid.
Yeah. Money makes the world go round. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. So we have a couple of quick comments here. Well, our friend Kenny Mendoza, he said you can also pass as the sinister minister. I don't know if you've heard that term before.
I've heard that many times.
All right. And he wanted to know, he's like, if you would choose to be killed by either one of the serial killers like Jason, Freddy, or Michael, or a supernatural monster,
who would you choose to kill you?
Pinhead.
Oh,
okay.
Pinhead.
There you go, Kenny. Pinhead. Father wants to get killed by Pinhead. So now you've legitimatized. Tricking me. You've legitimatized this character now. So now, people are already coming at you. They're noticing you. Where do you get to? Like, you're like, I'm going to start vending now at these cons.
Oh, that was easy. A friend of mine, basically a mentor. Her name is Elsie Ginsberg.
Mm-hmm.
She's battling cancer right now. She's in the final stages of her battle. Gotcha. She's still with us, but she's in the final stages. She prior to that, I would go, to all these conventions, all around the country. And then at that time, I just had a couple shirts online. That's it that I would sell online. Maybe that was it, just a couple of shirts. Maybe a mug with my image on it. That's about it. She said something to me at Texas Frightmare. It was my second Texas Frightmare. And she's like, what are you doing? She had a way of talking to me. She's a Puerto Rican woman. And you know how Puerto Rican women get? When they talk to you, they have a certain way to get to you, especially if you're Latino. She's like, what are you doing? Just like that, with the hand. What are you doing here? And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I'm glad you got it like that. I'm like, what are you talking about? She said, I'm glad you got money like that to just, fly, 1,000 miles out here to take pictures for free. And I'm like, she goes, do you want to be like that guy and take pictures for free? Travel all over the country, just do nothing, just take pictures for free? She's like, you got shirts. People are coming up to you. Mm-hmm. People want your picture. why don't you have your shirts here? She goes, why don't you save up your money, get yourself a table, and sell your stuff instead of giving it away for free?
Gotcha.
And when she said that, something snapped in my head. I'm like, boom, that's it. She's right. Balls to the wall. I'm doing this. I'm going into business. I didn't know how to do it, but I told her, I said, help me. I will listen to you. Just help me. And she helped me. She helped me. She's taught me the ropes in the con world and how to go about things. Because there's certain rules in the con world,
Yeah.
And she taught me that, and she taught me how to present myself online. They were like, listen, there is no Father Evil, and there is Lou. They're just one person. You're Father Evil. You're not Lou. You're not this. You don't talk about certain things online. Stay as neutral as possible, because you're going to lose customers if you don't get into politics, because you're automatically, no matter which side you pick, you're automatically alienating 50% of your fan base right off the cuff.
Yeah.
She's like, they don't care what you think about politics. They don't care what you think about current events. Not like this is now. Obviously, this wasn't even thought of yet with the coronavirus pandemic, but they don't care what you think about what this guy did or that guy. All they care is the cool pictures you're doing. All they care is what horror you're watching, what horror con you're going to, and what your thoughts on horror. That's it. They care about what you think about horror. They don't care about what you think about politics, nothing else. Stay with that. Don't fall off track, because you're going to alienate a lot of people when you do that. And I took everything she said to heart. Yeah. My wife as well. She sometimes lights a fire, under my butt to, motivate me. Or if I'm going into something like I shouldn't go into, she'll in the background, she'll be like, and I'll move the subject to something else.
Yeah.
But Elsie Ginsberg was pretty much the one who planted the seed. And,
if you don't mind me, I'm sorry to interrupt. What did she do at cons that she was able to mentor you? Was she did she table, or was she just like
she had a table? She had a table. Actually,
she
was paying for her own cancer bills. So she vended.
Okay.
And this woman reinvented herself every time. At that time, she was selling contacts. She had partnered with this company. She bought into it, and it was called Gothica Lenses.
Okay.
And I'll tell you this much: at that show, by Saturday afternoon, at that show in Texas, she already had 7,000 in the bank.
Wow.
So it could be quite lucrative.
Yeah.
And when she planned it, I'm looking at her and I'm like, this woman makes money. Like I'm a low voltage electrician. She made 2 months' pay in 2 days.
Yeah.
Teach me. Teach me.
Yeah.
You made 2 months' pay. My 2 months' pay at $42 an hour, which is not too shabby.
Yeah.
I made $42 an hour. She made 2 months' pay in 2 days.
Wow.
Right.
Teach me, master.
Well, so I mean, and I mean, I guess that's a good segue. We were talking about this a little bit. So I mean, you have this original character, and there's a lot of people who do go out there and cosplay. They do charge money, and whether it be original characters or if they're using licensed characters, like what do you advise to people who want to become a professional cosplayer? I guess. I mean, you're a professional cosplayer because you have this brand, but you start essentially as like a cosplayer.
Well, I'm a cosplayer by definition, but not by a cosplayer is somebody who portrays an already established character.
Yeah, you're your own brand, which is...
I'm my own brand. I'm in a class all by myself.
Exactly.
Because I created this. And it's harder when you do it that way. 10 times harder. But once you get to that level and you start getting over that hump and you're going, you're starting to get momentum, it gets a lot easier. A lot of doors open up for you because people respect it. There's a lot of respect that goes in. I'm like, this guy made up his own brand. And look how far he came,
Yeah.
There have been cons that I've been more popular than traditional celebrities.
Really?
Yeah. I guess in some of these cons I'm a celebrity with no film credits,
Okay.
and that's something.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
and
pretty. I got people with tattoos of me on their body.
I know, and that you are recognizable, and I mean, like, as you go to these different things, and you're a celebrity without film credits. These guys, and I'm sure you've probably run into like Kane Hodder. I'm sure you've run into like Robert Englund. Like, what is the reaction for you being a fan of these guys, and then these guys coming up to you and checking out what you do? Like, what is that like? That must be really cool.
So far, I've talked to Kane Hodder and Tony Todd. Okay. Kane Hodder, I didn't know he was paying attention, but he was, and he spoke to me at Spooky Empire in Florida, and by that time that was maybe 2 years ago, 2018. So I've been in the scene for about 6 years already, and Kane Hodder, he said to me, you know what? Every year you're improving. Every year I see something different about you that was better than last year. And he goes, you're a crazy SOB because you made something on your own. It's crazy when this day and age, just the hell with it. I'm doing it myself, which is basically my mentality. And he goes, you're a crazy, SOB, but I got to admire you for what you're doing. And, it's just, he's like, keep on going. Same thing, same conversation, different state with Tony Todd. It was in Atlanta, Georgia. Tony Todd sees me, and I'm, messing with people and stuff. I didn't have a table yet. I wasn't vending there yet. I was testing the water. I was vending, but not nationwide like I am now.
Yeah.
So Tony Todd sees me. He goes, "Come here, come here." He's having a drink with this lady. He has this fedora on. He's all cool. He's grilling me. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I told him. I said, "Well, I'm so and so." And this is like, no, but what are you doing? And he goes, well, I'm testing out the waters here to see how these people would react to my character. This is the Bible Belt. I'm testing the waters to see where to bring my business next, this and that and the other. And he says, well, what have you done? And I told him what I've done, this is that and the other. I told him my plans at that point. And he's like, keep going the way you're going. He goes, I guarantee you're going to fall at one point, but just get back up. You'll be fine. He goes, you're going to get adversity, but just keep on going. I love your attitude, and I hope to see more of you. Now, that was back in 2 years ago, and I've seen him now at other cons, and he's like, Mr. Evil, and he recognizes me, and we talk, and we shake hands. Hello, Tony. Hey, Father Evil, how are you? We'll take a picture, no problem. That was it. Another one who blew me away, because I idolized this character when I first saw him. It was Tony Moran, who played Michael Myers in the first Halloween.
Gotcha.
He said
for the new one too, didn't he?
Right? He wasn't. I don't think he was in the new one. I don't remember. No, but Tony Moran. No, I don't think he was in the new one. But he was the first Michael Myers in 1978, I believe. And it was at New Jersey Horror Con. He comes up to me. I'm in the middle of doing a picture with somebody, and he's like, he comes up, he grabs me, he gives me a big hug. He goes, I love what you're doing. Keep on doing what you're doing, man. You're an original. It's like, not too many like you. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I said that's the good thing. And that's, again, the appeal. And I'm even just seeing some of the posts that we have here. People saw you at Garden State Comic Fest, seen long lines for people to see you. Saw you both at Garden State Comic Fest, and the Albany one, yeah, not the Albany,
the Atlantic City.
Yeah, I know I said that. So yeah, and people again, that's the thing, is like, people appreciate that originality that you bring to the table.
They didn't always at first. The comic crowd is hard to get to to convince. They're very hard. The comic crowd is a little bit. I've been on both sides. I'm a horror guy, at heart, but I've done the comic scene. And the comic scene is a little harder to break into as an original character because they're so used to the cosplay mentality, Yeah,
well, that's one of the things I wanted to ask you too. Yeah. Definitely the whole Comic-Con thing, which is now really evolved into a pop culture con thing. And Chiller used to be, I'd say Chiller used to be, and it still is for the most part, a horror con.
They're more pop culture, because when you start having porn stars at your horror con, you're pop culture.
Yeah, and then Jersey, Rob Bruce has his New Jersey Horror Con, which is a true horror con, and like you're saying, so there are some differences in Monster
They're
Mania.
true. Texas Frightmare is true. Monster Mania is true. Spooky. Everybody that I've been to has pretty much been, with the exception of Chiller Theater, which is 70% horror, 30%,
Yeah, the Love Boat cast there.
Yeah. Well, they're more of a pop culture.
Yeah.
They started out as a horror con, but they're bringing more people in. I mean, they diversified.
Exactly.
It works. They're one of the only cons in the country that can have a con on Halloween and sell out.
Yeah, I mean, it's always packed at those shows.
A lot of cons can't compete with Halloween.
Yeah.
This con says, you know what, we're going to have a Halloween and we're going to sell out. So they have the 30-year background to be able to do that.
I mean, and they also, Zachary. I mean, I know he passed a couple of years ago, but I mean, he was like the god of Chiller Theater. He's the one that had Chiller Theater on television. So I mean, that's very
Bingo.
I'm sure you encountered him several times.
Many.
What a nice guy he was. He was
very nice guy. Very nice guy. I took pictures with him. Very frail at the time.
Yeah.
Very nice guy. Always had a kind word to say. Always.
Yeah. Humble guy.
Very
humble guy. And this is cool. So now, again, going into the segue from horror to comic books. And this is the question that we were thinking about too from Kenny. He could see a comic book made for your character. What would your comic book be called? Like a subtitle with your name? Like, are there Father Evil comic books coming? I'm 100% sure you've been approached several times by many people for a comic book.
I have. I'm very picky.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get as far as I've gotten in the scene by not being picky. You got to do your research. I decided that I'm going to go with the comic book with the people who are making my video game.
Oh, it's a video game?
Oh, yeah.
Is it for a system based or is it like
PC?
Okay.
At first, and depending how that goes, the next one could possibly. Well, depending how that goes, it can go to to other formats, PlayStation, Xbox, what have you. If that happens, that's a complete game changer on so many levels.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But the game is going to be called Father Evil: Spectre of Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the premise of the game takes place in 15th century Spain.
Okay.
During the Inquisition, Father Evil is basically trying to take over all of Spain, and from all of Spain, the rest of Europe, the rest of the world. What you have to do is you have to defeat his 7 different generals in 7 different parts of Spain. Each general represents an embodiment of sin.
Nice. 7 deadly.
Within those regions where those generals rule, you have somewhere in that region is the opposite of the sin, the virtue.
Mm-hmm.
It can help you tremendously in defeating the general, and once you have all 7 of them, it helps you tremendously in fighting me at the end because I'm the end boss.
Gotcha.
Okay. Is there any release date or?
It was tentatively for this fall, but then this happened, so it might be pushed back. I don't know. I just spoke not too long ago with the CEO of Studio Codeworks. Who's the owner of this? Who's making this game? He contacted me. He goes, things are going a little slow. Keep in mind, I'm like, dude, you don't have to explain. We have a global pandemic. I can wait. Yeah. Trust me. This can wait. You take care of family first. Yeah, I'm sure you have employees who have loved ones being affected by this. Please take care of that first. This is second fiddle. Don't worry about this. And he's like, no. We're working on it. Trust me, but I'm just going to be a little slower. I'm like, I'm not expecting anything yet. So trust me, no rush. Take your time. Make a great product. That's all I'm asking.
Now, one of the things, and I've been...
But from there, they're doing a prequel comic that shows how Father Evil became Father Evil, because I gave him, I guess what you would say, exclusive info on how Father Evil became Father Evil, and he loved it.
You came up with the origin and
the origin of how Father Evil came to be Father Evil and why he is Father Evil.
Interesting.
So basically, it's a story of Father Evil when he was Father Lou Avilleira. If there's a play on word with the last name, My last name is really Avilleira. Well, in the character, Luis Avilleira is Evilleira.
Perfect.
So there's a play on words there. Some people get, some people don't.
Yeah.
But it tells you who he was before he was reborn.
Nice.
Interesting.
Now, so I guess, and reborn and good. I think that's a nice segue. I've been watching your live feeds when they come on. If I'm home, if not, I watch them later on.
Thank you.
But I teach during the day, so if it's in between classes and you come on, I'm like, oh, I'll watch this. But talk about reborn. Like, you shared a story, and I think it's such a powerful story about you and how Father Evil changed you, Lou, in your personal life. If you wanted to share that with everybody.
How it changed me? It gave me a lot more responsibility. That's for damn sure. I mean, you got to be careful what you say out there because you have a lot of people following you. I told this. I remember one person in particular who, my story in particular, I guess, touched him. I'm an alcoholic. Beer to me tastes different than to some other people. To me, it's delicious. You can't just have one. You know, I can't just have one beer and that's it. I have a weakness, you know?
Yeah.
And for years, I was a hardcore party drinker. I was what you would call blackout drunk.
Oh, wow.
My wife, the pillar of strength that she is, stood by me. And she's like, you know, I had so many conversations with her the day after. She was like, do you know what you did? Do you know what you said? You know, do you know what you started? I'm like, no, I have no idea. I completely blacked out. And it got to be so much of a habit that she got to a point. It's like, listen, it's me or the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I chose right. I chose her.
Yeah.
And when I stopped, I slowly started getting things back. My money, one. I started getting, you know, my creativity back.
Mm-hmm.
I started getting my drive back. You know, my imagination started to flourish once again because it's a depressant. You know, alcohol is a depressant, a downer.
Yeah.
And I started seeing things differently. You know, at one point when I would, you know, make my money for the week, I would take X amount of money out and, you know, oh, this is my beer money. This is my going out money, you know, and I would spend $300-400 on a weekend. That.
Yeah.
Now multiply fortune on renting beer because you're just renting it. You're just renting it. You're going to pee it out later. Gotcha. You're not holding on to it. It's not going to be something you can build from. You're just going to get a hangover. And what did I do? And that's it. And when I stopped drinking, I got all these things back. And I decided, you know, I took a hobby and I made it to something. But if I was still drinking, I would have never have gone to a con because I would rather have gotten getting drunk than going to a con and exploring things.
Yeah, no, and I think that is such a positive thing. And like, I mean, and the day I saw you talking about that, like people are asking, and we had this conversation prior to coming on the air tonight, just about like people who have questioned what you're doing because obviously you're in the role of a priest, a minister, you know, and people are looking at you. Some people may think it's blasphemous, but if people really knew the true story behind it, you know, there is such a positive message. There is such inspiration behind it. And the fact that you've really taken the character, I mean, and it's been great for you, but it's also been great for your family too. Like, you know, your wife is involved with it. And your son is with you, and we've seen your son at the shows, and you shared me what you're doing with him in it. I mean,
it's a family affair.
Absolutely. And I mean, so from this character, I mean, he's Father Evil is a character right up there with like Freddy or Pennywise or anything else. He's
thank you.
I mean, I don't want to say horror characters or cartoon characters. I mean, certainly like Pennywise and Freddy have all really become cartoon characters at this point in time. But I mean, like, they become like these characters. And like, certainly this video game thing you're talking about, the comic book, have people talk to you even about like any kind of like films or television?
I've been approached by a lot of independent filmmakers. But I said I'm very choosy because you do one bad film,
it's
a wrap.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think even like, you know, and I don't know if anybody's even approached you. I'll throw this out there into the universe. I mean, certainly like just a documentary about you and
that would be cool. That would be cool.
Other evil.
That I wouldn't mind doing, but that I could definitely be open to. But the only way it would be a movie, it would have to be Hollywood.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go big or don't go at all. But in the meanwhile, I like the path that I'm taking. If a movie happens, movies used to be my goal.
Mm-hmm.
It was my goal, but then things change. My goal is different now. Like if a movie happens, it happens. Great. If Netflix happens, it's great. If Amazon Prime wants to do a series, great. I'll do it if it happens. But I'm not gonna go out actively searching for it. My goal is to be one of the #1 tourist attractions in New Orleans for ghost tours.
Oh, well now, so you were talking about, you were talking about that a little bit today on your stream. You were talking about like the live haunts that they do. So obviously October is probably your busiest season of them all. Do you do like the ghost tours? Do you do the haunted houses? I mean, outside of doing the con things.
I do haunts, yes. I'm a freelance haunter. I do any haunt that I'll pay my rate. My rate's not cheap, but they know what they're getting.
Yeah.
So they pay. I've been a repeat customer to these people for the past couple of years now. Sometimes 2 or 3 times a month, I'm doing 3 of their events. So they're paying my rate, and because they know I give them a show. They know they're not going to forget me once the patrons come in, because I definitely give them the Father Evil experience. I get in their heads. And they love that. But that's what they're coming to. They're coming to get scared.
Yeah.
They're coming to be horrified, and I know what I'm doing. So there's that, and then kind of lost my train of thought here when you got with the live haunts, with the tours. I looked into in New Orleans, like the amount of money you can make in New Orleans in tours, it's a little crazy.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you could do pretty well. I have something that's different than most people have. I also have a following. I'm already established.
Yeah.
I've been down there. Second time I was down there, which is last January, not this past January, the year before. I was there for HauntCon on business as Father Evil, and I had like a lot of people coming up to me. It's like, "Are you from around here? You should be down here. You know, you need to be down here. You could do a lot down here." I had a lot of haunt owners coming down there from Georgia, Atlanta, from Tennessee, asking me my rate and what it would take for me to come to their haunts from Jersey. So emails were exchanged, whatever. No one has contacted me yet to go down there for a haunt, because it just costs money. I'm not a novice at this. It's like I'm coming from Jersey. I have a following. I'll promote your stuff. You're coming with a whole package. I have a huge following, so you know where I'm getting to from there.
Absolutely. That's kind of what we do with the kids stuff. Like you're getting a service when you hire anybody to come and do the con.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I saw this one person at I believe that once you're really into something and you're really that invested in it, your subconscious makes you reach out to certain people to get you to the next level. I truly believe in that. And I was at the Festival of Witches as a guest in Sleepy Hollow. And something told me to speak to this one guy. And he was a hoodoo practitioner, Hoodoo San Moise. And I spoke to him and I said, "I got to ask you a question. Something's telling me to speak to you." I said, "Clearly you're from New Orleans." He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You've been watching me over the weekend, interact with people in my persona." I was like, "How do you think I would do in New Orleans if I were to do tours down there or have something there?" He goes, "You would kill it."
Really?
He goes, you would kill it. They need people like you down there. And he owns a shop down there. He owns a basically it's a holistic type of shop with voodoo books and stuff. Hoodoo and voodoo is huge in New Orleans.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So he has the name of his shop is called Conjure, and I mean he travels all over the country doing lectures on hoodoo, and then it's a big community.
Yeah.
He was like, you need to be in New Orleans. Period. And when I went down there in January, I did a test run. I actually did a little photo shoot right on Bourbon Street, full of people, and people were eating it up.
Wow.
And I'm like, I need to come down here. I need to have Father Evil ghost tours down here. And I know I can make it that people will, one of the reasons people go to New Orleans is to get the Father Evil experience. That I know.
Wow. And that's something that's not, I mean, just New Orleans the way it is. That's not even like a Halloween, October thing. That's a year round kind of.
Exactly what I'm saying. It's year round. It's a year round Halloween. Picture a haunt that's as big as a city. That's New Orleans.
Wow. I definitely want to hit that place.
It's full of history, full of horror, full of ghosts, full of lore, everything. Picture everything that makes a Halloween haunt. Now make that into a city.
Wow.
That's New Orleans.
Now, as soon as the world opens up, and I know my girlfriend and I, we've talked about that. That's definitely someplace that's on our bucket list to go to.
That's on
the
mine,
food.
Mine and Janine.
The food, forget about it.
That's actually the reason I really want to go down. I'm a big foodie.
I had alligator for the first time down there. Absolutely delicious.
Really?
I had turtle soup. Delicious.
Really?
Yes. Crawfish. I never had crawfish before. Crawfish.
Yeah.
I understand why now crawfish is a $4 billion business in New Orleans. I understand why it's a huge business down there.
Yeah.
So their food is out of this world. It's a whole. Once you go to New Orleans, it does something to you. It really does.
Wow, and it's definitely, like I said, definitely a place to go. But now let me just, now you're talking about the haunts, you're talking about the cons. So again, you really have this experience, and I know this is we've talked about this with several of our other guests, and we've talked about this even we've had just our regular IncrediChat. These conventions, these activities that we do at these shows, like, where do you see this going now after the coronavirus? I mean, Father Evil's probably not going to want to. It's going to be Father Evil's not going to want to wear a mask, and people aren't going to want a picture with you in a mask. Anybody at that point, like, where do you see it going?
We're gonna, as I mentioned it earlier, we're gonna adapt, observe, adapt, and overcome. Instead of me, like, for a while, like, it's once the cons open up, I'll maintain it. Like, instead of me getting on top of you like I would to take a picture, because Father Evil, the experience is he's right next to you, he's blessing you, putting his hand on your forehead, whatever. Maybe you could do it such a way that it looks like I'm touching you, but I'm not. I won't be as close to you. But yeah, you can't have Father Evil with the mask. It takes away. Oh, that's Father. No, it's not Father Evil, and it's it wouldn't make sense. Yeah. But once the cons open up enough for people to be at least somewhat close to each other, you could still do it. Just not as much as I used to, not as in depth as I used to. But yeah, I would still be doing that.
Do you think the con community is going to be pretty strong when it reopens, or do you think people are going to be hesitant about coming out? Do you think venues are going to be worried about, like a hotel saying we usually have this thing that pull in a few thousand people? They might be a little bit more hesitant just because of the liabilities that it may now bring them, and God forbid something happens.
Once the con season opens up again, and then the liabilities, basically, you can't have a con without having insurance.
Of course.
So once the cons open up, I guess they pass those parameters legally that the hotels will welcome them in. It's gonna listen. The first con that opens up, I want to have a table at that con because people are gonna come out in droves. They're gonna buy for the sake of buying.
It's true. You go to Walmart now.
Let me ask you: do you think people are going to have a lot? I mean, there's not a lot of people. People are unemployed right now, all that stuff, and as soon as con season's open, I mean, they're not still.
People will go out.
I believe that too. I do. I'm just saying, purchasing. You think people are just going to be ready to spend money?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I mean, a lot of people don't have work, but that's you could have taken that before this virus.
True.
You had a lot of looky-loos, and you got a lot of people that buy.
Yeah.
People are going to come out and no, I'm going to spend my money. I need to get that Father Evil shirt. Oh, I got to get that Father Evil picture. Listen, I don't charge much for pictures. I charge $5.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't even get a bag of chips and a soda at a convention for $5.
Very, very true.
So $5 you can part with. Not a problem. And I've done cons. I'm not kidding you. I did 2 cons back to back when I first started introducing pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I did a con. I did Ohio. This is back last March. It was at Horror Hound.
Okay.
And then the very next weekend was Monster Mania. On just pictures alone, I cleared over $800.
Wow.
Just pictures.
Yeah, I mean, at a price point like that, what the heck? I mean,
$5. The cheapest thing you're going to get at a con. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. Now let me just ask you. So, how many shows normally a month do you do, or a year?
Well, March. Well, that's a question for my wife, but I would say every year it changes. We're going into like maybe 35 to 40 cons.
Wow.
A year. So.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot. I think we've kind of done that doing kids shows at least 1 or 2 years.
Yeah. About 35, something like that. Close to 40. I can't tell you the exact number because a lot of them are repeat cons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they kind of get jumbled up there. I can't, but I do a lot of traveling. I do a lot of appearances as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of hosting and weddings. I'm ordained.
Yeah, that's right. You were saying it.
Do you do those at horror cons?
No one has approached me to do it at a horror con yet. Like an official wedding, like a legit wedding.
Mm-hmm.
I've done pseudo ones, let's pretend for close friends and stuff. But I did do a vow renewal at New Jersey Horror Con, and it was a whole shebang. I read them, a little something that I wrote up for them, and the guy surprised his wife, and he said, "Honey, come here. I want you to meet this guy." And then all of a sudden, this crowd gathered around them. We had this all planned, and she's like looking around, and then she's like, "Oh my God, are you proposing to me again?" And he's like, "Yes." And I'm like, "I did the vow renewal right there." She's like, "Oh my God!" So she ate it up. But yeah, I've gotten approached for doing it at horror cons, but people sometimes just back out because money wise, it's not cheap. But I've done right now I've done about maybe 5-6 weddings already.
Okay.
Nice. And I guess as we're going to start wrapping up now here, let me just ask, and I mean, this goes with the traveling every weekend, because I mean, certainly as it's a little different for, I guess, Grassia and I, because, we're Mike and Michael, everywhere we go, and we're both teachers during the week. And I mean, I'm a dad. Grassia is not a dad right now.
I'm an uncle of 5 though. So,
but and you said you were sharing you're just a regular blue collar guy. What is maybe your balance, your sanity, if you will? So obviously your wife and your son travel with you as well, but going to work, and so you've got Father Evil on the weekends, and then you've got your regular daytime job, and switch off and on. And again, also Grassia and I have talked about this all the time. Doing all these shows, I'm sure you're well aware of the con crud that there is. So just keeping yourself healthy through all this,
Con crud. The way I found the way around that was airborne. Those tablets. Took 3 or 4, during the day. Total, you'll be fine. It works. It really works.
Yeah.
Hand sanitizer. I was using hand sanitizer way before this came about.
Yeah.
You're shaking 500 hands. Something's bound to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after every person I came in contact, I wouldn't do it in front of them, obviously.
See, I do. I don't mind that.
It's a little rude for me, but I just wait till I'm like, okay, the next one. You have to.
Yeah.
You want to be as personable as possible to give them the experience, so they come back and they talk. One bad review can mess you up.
Of course.
But you just gotta be practical about it. So yeah, the airborne, the sanitation. What else? That was pretty much it during that time. But
the whole like mental thing, like turning
Lou
to going to Father Evil and being a dad and working.
Okay, that's 12 hours of Father Evil. It takes more out of you than a full week's worth of physical work, because you're always on.
Yeah.
I know after doing one day of Father Evil, let's say doing at New Jersey Harker or any con, Monster Mania, after a full day of from opening to close, you're Father Evil, you're always doing your routine, you're always in character, you're always waiting for the right response. It's mentally grueling because you're on all the time.
Yeah.
There's no break. I know once I take off, once I hit the hotel room and I take off my shoes and the makeup comes off, I'm dead to the world. It's just like what keeps me grounded. Well, obviously my family's there or whatever, but knowing that this passion, Father Evil, this will be eventually my full-time job.
Yeah.
Within less than 3 years, I will be doing Father Evil full-time. That's what keeps me going, because the way I see it, working working in a union or whatever, you're working for a boss. I have the mentality of the work that I do. Yes, I get paid and I get an attaboy. Yeah, but my boss gets a Jaguar in his driveway.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You understand? If his wife gets that new Gucci purse or whatever, I'm actually fulfilling someone else's dream. A guy dreamt of having his own company. Well, he has his own company. I'm one of the workers.
Yeah.
Well, what keeps me going, keeps me grounded, is knowing that I have something that I developed that's going to take me to the next level of being, self-employed and free from having to rely on anybody to pay me. You know what I mean? I'm paying myself. That's what keeps me going.
I like that.
And again, the legacy that you leave for your son. I think that's
I want to pass this down. I created this. I opened up all these doors for you. It's up to you what you do when you cross through those doors. That you're on your own. I can give you some advice, but ultimately you got to cross that door. I opened the door for you. I showed you the path. The rest is up to you, kid.
Yeah, I mean, and that's perfect, because that's the one thing we've been telling everybody as we've been doing these chats and having different creators on, is like, this is the time. Now we are home. This is the time to find who you are, reinvent yourself, and go about doing whatever it is whatever it is, art, music, performance.
Follow your passion. It's foolish to go through. We're only in this earth for such X amount of time.
Yeah.
It's foolish not to follow your dreams just once. Just once. Just give it a shot. Give it a shot. If you fail, you fail. At least you tried.
Exactly.
One way you fail for sure is by never trying.
Yeah.
Very cool. So we're going to throw up your logo now and tell people where else they can find you. You got that to pull up there, Graz?
I never got his logo.
Where's the logo? The website. You know what I mean?
FatherEvil.com.
FatherEvil.com. We'll add that. I can't, but we'll make sure it's in the
and my Facebook page or my Instagram.
Yes,
and
we'll make sure they're posted on our page.
Gotcha. And I mean, do you do Cameo? Are you on Cameo too?
Yeah, I'm on Cameo.
Oh, look at this. So
I also have a Cameo page. My rate there is $25.
All right,
very affordable.
Send us a link to it. We'll link it on our page here.
Not a problem.
Yeah. And definitely, like our good buddy Marty, knows Marty Grabstein. We talked about.
Courage.
He's a good friend. And maybe one night we can maybe get you and Courage on. We could talk horror movies, because that would be a lot of fun.
I'm down. I am down.
Yeah. I love listening to Marty talk about just whatever.
Where did you meet Marty? Was it at Atlantic City? Probably the first time.
I met him at Festival of Witches.
Oh, we were.
Oh yeah, because we hung out with. I live in Yonkers, so you were like 10 minutes from my house.
All right, so yeah, that's where I met him, and he was there.
The girl
and he was a trip. He was such a funny dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. You got? Have you had dinner with him? You got to have dinner with him.
No, I haven't had dinner with him.
Yeah.
No, we need to make that happen.
Yeah, we'll make it all of us will go out or something. He's freaking hysterical.
But no,
he's a character.
Oh, that's beyond point. But yeah, no, maybe we can pull something together like that. But yeah, once again, thank you, Lou, Father Evil, for
thank you
joining us tonight.
You.
No, much appreciated.
It was really great hearing your story.
No,
I've seen you at shows. I never really, like we said, we never really interacted because I hang out in the kids section. You don't walk over to a kids section to not scare the kids. So I haven't had much of it, but I've always been interested in what you do. So it was great to get to know you.
Yeah,
get to know you more.
And again, certainly follow. Go onto the Facebook page. Follow the live stream. You do those how many times a week?
I'm doing it now once a week.
Once a week.
I used to do it like once every couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
But now, since you got a lot of people going stir crazy, and you got a lot of people with their feeds and their news being, coronavirus this, coronavirus that, presidency this, presidency that, I give them an escape. I don't allow current events to be talked about on Father Evil. We only talk about horror movies, and anything on the subject. Current events stay out. Coronavirus is out. Forget about that. You can go back to that once you leave this page. Right now, let's just forget about it.
Have fun.
Let's have some horror. Let's have this virtual HorrorCon experience. I'll give you the virtual Father Evil HorrorCon experience. You can ask me whatever you want. I'm there for you. And that's that. That's why I'm doing it at least once a week, because you can't come to the con. Well, I'm the con, and I'm coming to you.
There you go. That's perfect. That's exactly what we're supposed to do. So once
again,
I
didn't mean it like a con as in con artist. That didn't sound right. Like I'm the con and I'm coming to you. No. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that all of us that do the cons. That's why we're doing this now too tonight, because we have to bring it to the people so we all stay relevant in this world.
The people made you relevant.
Absolutely.
It's up to you to stay relevant by going back to the people.
Yes.
Giving them something.
Give them back what they gave you. They gave you your popularity. You owe it to them.
Absolutely.
That's why I treat them all like gold, because they are gold. I mean, they put me in this position. I got to treat them. You got to love them.
Exactly. Yeah.
You got to respect them.
Yeah.
100%. So once again, I'll just release that or something. But yeah, no, once again, so thank you for coming on there.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and we're just gonna let everybody know Monday night we are back with our next If you're a Scooby-Doo fan, you like horror there, Lou?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I loved Scooby-Doo.
Well, we have our guest Monday night is going to be Tom Ruger, who is one of the producers, directors, writers.
My favorite character, my favorite villain from Scooby-Doo was that ghostly astronaut. Where it had the skull behind.
Space Kook.
Yeah, the Space Kook.
Yes. Oh, I loved him. He was my all-time favorite.
So yeah, we're gonna have one of the guys who created a pup named Scooby-Doo, Animaniacs, Tiny Toons. So that's Monday. So we'll be sharing all that out.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So tune in. And we'll be sharing this out. This podcast will then be, or this live stream will be available on our Facebook page, as well as our IncrediconHB.com as well.
Yes.
Yeah, send me a link so I can share it on my pages as well.
100%. Excellent. So again, thank you so much, and we will see you guys again on Monday.
All right. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Take care.